What happens if the Shinju get upgraded by Eida's abilities? So essentially, Mamushi is going after Eida to get her abilities to make her superior genetics his own. And by superior genetics, maybe he means Shibai Otsutsuki cells that have been implanted into her by Amado, and that's what gives her the omnipotence, it's what gives her the Senrigan. And if Mamushi actually succeeds in his goal of getting Eida's abilities or her superior genetic information a part of all of the Shinju, what happens? And essentially the way that it would work is, let's say Mamushi, Hidari, and Jura get the Senrigan, right? Now, what exactly happens with all of that? Like, what do they gain from all of that? And it's kind of hard to say because on the one hand, like, Eida can only look back as far as she's been, like, alive. So at the time of, like, Boruto, Naruto, Next Generations, when she was talking about it, she was able to go back 16 years, which is, like, around the age she was at when everything started, like, happening, or she was brought back up or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. And then there's also, how long has the Ten Tails been alive? So, are they gonna be able to use her abilities based on how long she was alive? Or are they gonna be able to use the abilities based on how long the Ten Tails has lived overall? You know, however long Jura was the Ten Tails for, however long it took for it to grow into, like, whatever, you know what I mean? And with that, what happens to the other Shinju? What do the other Shinju learn and gain from that? And I think the only one who would gain the omnipotence ability would be Jura. I don't think Mamushi or Hidari would gain it, but they would all have access to maybe the Senrigan, and they would all be able to, like, look back on past events. And basically, my feeling was that Jura would go back and look at omnipotence, swapping Kawaki and Boruto's places. He would be able to go back and know what happened to Naruto and how he got trapped in the Daikokuten. He would be able to go back and see, like, basically all of the events of Boruto, Naruto, Next Generations. He would just be able to look over all of that and kind of gain it for himself. And that's kind of the interesting part about it is, if he does, or if they all get this ability, they'd be able to look over so much of, one, the events that have happened and the Otsutsuki, but also, like, Hidari would be able to look back and see what Sarda is like, or how she is, or what her abilities are. And then Mamushi would be able to look over and watch, like, Damon and Boruto and Kawaki and stuff like that. And Jura would be able to look at Himawari and Naruto and Boruto and all of that. And not to mention, he would also have knowledge about Kashin Koji. So all of that mixed together is just like a... It doesn't make them any more powerful than they already are, right? Like, strength-wise, they're already as strong as they can be. But it just gives them the knowledge and the know and the understanding of, like, oh, this is how they're so aware. Kashin Koji has been using his Shinjutsu to, like, get ahead of us and all of these other different things. And with all of that mixed together, it's just a recipe for disaster. It really is. It's just gonna destroy everything. And it's why I kind of feel like they were foreshadowing, like, Eida being killed by Sarada or Sumire. Because in the worst case scenario is that, like, Eida's abilities get taken for the Shinju to use, and they're going to have to make a choice about whether or not they try to save Eida, right, that's been, like, absorbed or, like, devoured via the tree, or killing Eida completely to get rid of their abilities, so they wouldn't have access to it anymore. And I think it might be leaning in that way, but I just want to know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about what happens if Mamushi succeeds in his mission. What happens if he does devour Eida? What happens if he does gain her superior genetics? What happens if they do have access to the Senrigan and omnipotence? Like, it's an added ability to the already strong presence, and it's just going to cause mayhem. And I'm kind of excited about it, but at the same time, I kind of want them to avoid it out of, I don't know, maybe a sort of fear that they could become too powerful, or I don't know. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah,